Welcome to the MLS Show. This is Game of the Week, and this week we have chosen New York City against Orlando City, basically because it's my show and I like Orlando City, and I also like New York City, so it makes sense.
That's fair.
That's fair. Scott, come on, it's a big game. It's a big game. This one ended in a 2-1 win for Orlando City. Now, beforehand, I was thinking, Orlando been really strong, 4 wins at home at the new stadium. I've had a 5-3 defeat in New York. I've had a 2-2 in New York, a 1-1-0 in New York. So the record doesn't mean too badly at Yankee Stadium. But this one, I just felt as though beforehand this was going to be Orlando City's biggest test going to Yankee Stadium, because I feel as though Patrick Vieira has got a real identity about New York City now. But they were both playing in recycled kits. And it worked out the other way. The man who just loved scoring goals in NYC came up big again for Orlando City. And this time, even though we did score, it was all about Kyle Larin, not David Villa.
Right, it's Kyle Larin. I mean, he loves the big city. Look, he scored 13 goals overall against NYCFC and the Red Bulls. That's 9-7 against New York City FC. Kid just loves to hunt the Yankees, you know. I don't know what it is with him. I mean, look, we're seeing this sort of Chrysian revolution with Orlando City right now. They're learning how to grind out results on the road. And look, they seemingly can't be beaten at home. Look, I mean, it's Kyle Larin. I was there. I was lucky enough to be at this game last year. If you remember when David Villa incredibly missed that penalty when he slipped and put it into the top tier. And I remember asking Patrick Vieira at the time, what do you guys have to do to be better at home? Because that was after a 7-0 loss to the Red Bulls, and it was the 2-2. They blew the 2-0 lead. Yeah. And, you know, like you say now, you expect New York City FC. They didn't make any excuses for the pitch. He made no excuses about anything. Vieira said, this is our pitch. This is where we play. We have to get better, and they have. Yeah. And that's why this result is kind of shocking in a way.
I mean, I suppose when we've done a video, we've done a podcast, didn't we, about Kyle Larin. We spoke about this last week. This is a kid, I think, the more he does this, and this was a game that was on live in the UK, Sky Sports, and I think more and more Premier League, I'm not trying to sell him because I love him at Orlando City, but I think more and more Premier League clubs are going to sit up and take notice of Kyle Larin, and the reason is because of his physicality. And you watch his 2 goals in this game, both totally different. I mean, New York City were on top. They were dominating the possession. They just weren't taking the chances. The final ball wasn't quite there. And Orlando, in a blink of an eye, a little break, ball across the front of the 6-yard box, and Larin's there to steer it home. And when you've got someone who can put the ball in the back of the net like that, it gets you out of sticky situations. His second goal, I think it's Toya, is it, who stands it up, and then it's a powerful header inside the 6-yard box for 2-0. And 2 different goals. And you're 2-0 at Yankee Stadium before you know it.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that he has to his game is he has a lot of finesse too. I mean, this kid is a complete package. I mean, you know, we talked about how Giles Barnes said, you know what we call him, baby Lukaku. Well, he's right in that regard, because I saw a video of Lukaku with Jamie Carragher, and he's saying, once I put my arm into you like this and turn you, I'm gone. And that's what Kyle Larin's like. Kyle Larin, look, you don't want to give him any room, because he will make you pay for it. But one thing that Jason Kreis did very well in this game is he's using that midfield diamond a lot. You know, Matthew Doyle over at MLSsoccer.com breaks it down way better than I will. But at the same time, Giles Barnes, as a number 10 in that game, completed 7 passes. What a terrible game, right? No, because he closed down Perlo every time he was on the ball. Every time. Giles Barnes was pressing. So was Will Johnson. This is something that Orlando City are doing very well. It's going to serve them well as they go forward and push towards that supporters' shield.
Definitely. I mean, is this a season where you can see them actually getting into the playoffs now? Because it's been building for Orlando City towards the playoffs. Obviously, they came in a blaze of glory in year 1, shall we call it. It didn't quite happen.
Yeah.
Year 2 started, and it was, right, this is the season we do it. and it didn't quite happen. Although halfway through last year, they took the decision to get rid of Adrian Heath and replace him with Jason Christ, who hadn't pulled up any trees at New York City. I know he'd done very well at Real Salt Lake, but he hadn't really done great at New York City. But what he's done really well, I guess, listen, you can sit here and pretend to be all knowledgeable, but everyone would have said if they can sort the defence out, they'll be a better team. And it's exactly what he's done. I don't think this year, before we get on to New York City very briefly, I don't think this year you can understate the importance of Jonathan Spector, and I don't think you can understate the importance of Will Johnson. Those two, and Giles Barnes, he's came in. He went out from Houston to Vancouver, and I thought, what a great signing for Vancouver. Didn't work out, really. Orlando picked him up, and I was like, yeah, okay, all right. But Kaka's gone out the side. Kaká's gone out the side, and Barnes has come in, and from the opening day, when he came on against New York City in Orlando, and he set the first touch, set the winner up for Kyle Larin. Since then, he's just got better and better, and they have. And I think this one is the first time that Jason Christ will think, you know what, we've gone to a real rival in this conference, and we've been able to see out a big win.
Oh yeah, there's no question that this team's going to be in the playoffs. No question in my mind.
Okay.
Not at all. I think, one of the biggest things is that they need to sort out the defense. And look, whether you buy into the XG and X defense and X assist stats or not, they statistically with XG or whatever it is, they have the third best defense in the league right now. They've conceded 5 goals. 5.53 expected goals is what they've conceded in their 6 games. So look, that's a very, very good record, and that does account, a little bit for Bendik playing well between the posts there as well. But they have a great spine of that team right now. Forget all the other statistics and the incendiary kind of things that we can talk about. Let's talk about the spine of this team, because now they have, like you say, Bendik in goal. They have Spector and another really highly rated young centre-half in Tommy Redding standing next to him every game now. He's playing very well, 20 years old. Watch out for that kid. And then Will Johnson in midfield. You've got Nocerino, who might be one of the... he's going to be one of the surprises of the season. He's finally found a role in that number 6-esque sort of box-to-box kind of role. They've got Rivas, who I know is a player that makes you tear your hair out at some point, Spaz, but you should really stop because you're kind of losing it a little bit up there. And the thin, you see. So.
It's been cut. And I don't buy into the brush back, mate. But no, you're right, Kevin.
Right. But look at them. Look at how much they've got. And this is all without Kaka.
Yeah. I mean, they've been really good. The key thing, I think, in this game is they just made sure that Sutter and Donny Toya, if it went 1-for-1 with Jack Harrison, he got tight to him. Harrison's a player I really, really like, but they cut off the supply. But what I will say is, the man for New York City always comes up big. Got them back into the game. It's a lovely little free kick. Morales plays it in, and Villa just clips it over Bendik. And still, such class, David Villa, still turning up, still scoring the goals, and still putting that shift in every week for New York City. Absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah, look, you can't underestimate the impact that David Villa's had on this New York City FC team, and in turn MLS. I mean, he is. If Robbie Keane's the best designated player MLS has ever had, I mean, he needs to watch out because Villa might surpass him at some point. I really do think that Villa, is on a level with Giovinco, and I know Giovinco's much younger, but Villa's movement off of the ball, he's obviously a more complete player. Look, he's won World Cups, for crying out loud. We know how good he is. Success just follows this guy around, And one thing I'll say, he's totally committed to the team. He doesn't think that he's a diva on that team. He stood with us when I was there last season in New York City. Most of the time you get maybe sort of 2 or 3 minutes, with a player, and that's fine. That's great. I'm not knocking anybody for doing that. Sometimes that's, you're trying to get change. You don't want people up in your face. Villa went and stood there for about 11 minutes. I asked him maybe 5 questions. There's a bunch of other people asking him a lot of the questions. He did Spanish, he did it in English. And 18 months prior to when I was interviewing last summer in May, he hadn't even learned, he'd been learning English for 18 months. So this is a guy who's so committed to MLS and so committed to the cause. He's even picking up bottles in the locker room and throwing them in the trash. That's how committed that guy is.
Absolutely brilliant. And he almost equalised in the 95th minute. I think Joe Bendix had to come up big and make a point-blank unbelievable save when you look at it again. So, you know, a great win for them. New York City, again, okay, they've lost this game. I wouldn't be too worried if I was them. It was a game that could have gone either way. I think the win means more to Orlando City because it's almost validation for them. You know, they lost on the road. Their only defeat they've had. They've come out here, you know, 4 wins from 4 at home, the first road win. But New York City, when you look at them, you know, Patrick Vieira, 3-3-1 they're showing on the table, the 5 points adrift of Orlando City, but he's got them. I think they're just ready to go, and I've got no concerns. They're going to be top 2 or 3 this year without a shadow of a doubt for me.
Oh yeah, same with me. Vieira's got it's funny because they always say about foreign coaches can't get MLS. Well, Vieira gets it, and look, he's utilising everybody very well in that team right now. Look, sometimes results don't go your way. This is like we always say. This is one of the most unpredictable leagues in the world. Well, I wouldn't want to do a prediction for next week's results now because I just don't know. I mean, nobody ever really knows in MLS. So, look, I'm not expecting them to be 6th in the Eastern Conference all year, but it's a tough conference this year. So, will they finish top? Let's wait and see.
Just very quickly on Vieira before I let you go, Scott. Is he doing so well in MLS because he hasn't had a European coaching job, do you think? And so because he was in the academy at Manchester City and then he came over to New York City. So he's not, I don't want to say prejudiced because that's not really the word, but he's had nothing to muddy the water, so to speak. Do you think he's doing that well, or do you just think he seems like a top coach because of his World Cup experiences, Arsenal and Milan, that kind of thing?
Well, we've seen coaches with that much experience in their playing days not be good coaches. I know he hasn't won World Cups, but Gianfranco Zola was one of the best players on the planet for a little while there. Somehow didn't play for Italy, I guess because he moved to England. But look at him as a coach at Birmingham City, not very good. Ruud Gullit, another guy who's got a wealth of experience, had a few good years with Chelsea, but when he came over to America with the LA Galaxy, mixed results. But I think, I think you're right. I think the fact that Vieira hasn't had this kind of experience, look, he's used to doing well with what he's got, in a youth setup, playing every player to their maximum potential. And that is what you have to do in MLS. Look, you can buy quality in MLS. You can. Don't get me wrong. You can do it. You can get around that designated player rule and that salary cap. The deepest pockets, they get the best players. And, we see that in players like Pirlo and Villa in New York City. However, it's everybody outside of that. You have to be great at coaching. You have to be great at getting the best out of and making it work for your team. And Vieira and New York City FC, they've built a great franchise there. That's why I'm not concerned about them.
Fantastic. Great stuff, Scott. A massive thank you again for joining me on this week's MLS show. I'm just going to say, you're probably going to be a permanent fixture for as long as you can do this and give up your time. So you are very welcome.
Hey, I love it. It's not giving up any of my time. It's what I love to do. I love being on it. And,
you need to get up
giving me the opportunity to be a bit wacky on video. That's cool. So.
You need to get up here and get in the studio when we do a couple of studio shows. But
hey, what are you waiting for? Tell Ball Street they got to pay for my train to get up there. And I'm there, man. Come on, let's go.
Mate, don't worry. I'll have words. I will have words with them.
All right.
So, massive thank you for joining me. Don't forget, everybody, to check out me and Scott done a review of all the other games. You've been watching the game of the week. If this is the first video you've clicked on, click on the other one for the other results. And we'll see you next week on the MLS show. Welcome to the MLS show. This is game of the week, and this week we have chosen New York City against Orlando City, basically because it's my show and I like Orlando City and I also like New York City, so it makes sense. That's fair. Scott, come on, it's a big game. It's about the other way. The man who just loves scoring goals in NYC came up big again for Orlando City, and this time, even though we did score, it was all about Kyle Larin, not David Villa.
Right, it's Kyle Larin. I mean, he loves the big city. Look, he scored 13 goals overall against NYCFC and the Red Bulls. That's 9 in 7 against New York City FC. Kid just loves to hunt the Yankees. I don't know what it is with him. I mean, look, we're seeing this sort of Chrysian revolution with Orlando City right now. They're learning how to grind out results on the road, and look, they seemingly can't be beaten at home. Look, I mean, it's
badly at Yankee Stadium, but this one I just felt as though beforehand this was going to be Orlando City's biggest test going to Yankee Stadium, because I feel as though Patrick Vieira has got a real identity about New York City now. But they were both playing in recycled kits, and it was it worked out game. This one ended in a 2-1 win for Orlando City. Now, beforehand, I was thinking, Orlando been really strong, 4 wins at home at the new stadium. I've had a 5-3 defeat in New York. I've had a 2-2 in New York, a 1-1-0 in New York. So the record hasn't been too